Hey.
How are you?
Good. Hey, good afternoon, councillors and Mr Mayor. With only 5 minutes submission time, I'll jump straight into it. My first statement to you all is I hope you do appreciate that people and residents have choices on where they live. I know a number of people in Christchurch are already paying $20,000, $30,000 and $40,000 a year in rates. Quick raise of hands from councillors that think $40,000 a year rates on a residential home with 2 people is value, and would they be prepared to pay it? I don't know what but it's a 2-person residence, and I know a lot of people. Look, I'll continue on. The people I know paying these exorbitant and unfair rates are people who have built businesses in Christchurch, creating dozens, if not hundreds, of jobs in the city. With the proposed reduction in the UGRC, you're just further confirming with this proposal that the city doesn't want these people living here. Go to Waimak, Selwyn, Auckland, anywhere but here. Spend your money in restaurants, bars, elsewhere. Build your businesses elsewhere. Create employment anywhere but Christchurch. You want to spend money on local trades, businesses improving your home? The messaging from this council is, well, if you do, we'll charge you 3, 4 or 5 times more than other towns or cities on your rates. For a point of reference, my rates on a $1.6 million home are just over $10,000 a year. These rates would be $6,000 less or 60% cheaper if I lived in the Selwyn district. I can still live in Canterbury, still call Christchurch home, just move 10 minutes away, just not spend my money in Christchurch, venues, bars, etc. If I lived in a similar value home of 1.6 in Waimak, my rates would be 4.9, Selwyn would be 3.8 and Auckland would be 3.6. This delta will only further increase with the compounding effect of ongoing rates increases. Thus, I envisage my rates to be 15 grand in the near future. The only sensible action to do with what every other council in the country does and increase the UGRC to $400 or $500 to share the burden and prevent the upcoming scenario where those that generate jobs and build wealth simply see Christchurch the city not to be in. For the purpose of perspective, I did a request to council. It costs $50 a year just for the red bin to be collected from every home in this city. So this proposal to reduce the uniform and general rates charge to barely cover one rubbish bin. A perfect example of how councillors supporting this reduction in the UGRC are doing this for ideological rather than informed and rational reason is on the 15th of April 2020, Melanie Coker sent to her like-minded colleagues, Sarah, Pauline, Yanni and some others, copied me in an error by Melanie to an email responding to a letter I penned highlighting concerns to the high cost of rates in our city when Jake mooted this charge some time back. The direct quote from Melanie was, if he's paying that much in rates, his home must be worth $2 million. So hard done by not. So ignoring this inappropriate personal comment from Melanie, you're out by close to 25% on the value of my property. So having a grip on rates versus property values isn't your strong point possibly, and maybe you should abstain from voting on this proposal. Jake, as the instigator of this proposal, I've got a couple of questions for you directly. You came back to me in 220 saying that you've got 4 individuals living in the house that rent and cover my rates bill. So I've got a couple of questions for you. So, Jake, you may or may not know this, but roughly what's your section size? I don't 4 bedrooms? Yeah. How many bathrooms? 2. And you've got 4 income earners in the city, adult income earners in the property. What's your point, Greg? So what are your rates? What are your rates? I don't know. Plus 3. You don't? Okay, so 3. So you've got 4 adult income earners in your property. I've got 2. My rates are over 10 and yours are 3. So give me a reason why I should be subsidising. This appears to be a self-serving and ideological driven proposal rather than a fair and equitable proposal. We've seen that in a couple of presentations prior.
Your house is worth 4 times mine, Greg.
Yeah, but so this goes back to the point of what we use in the city and the fairness and equitability. So I'd like to say the submission isn't about being self-serving on my behalf. I've got an exit plan from the city in the near future, but I've spoken to many individuals, the type that actually create jobs, start businesses in the city, perhaps the type of people that some of you don't relate or talk to, but the city is pushing them to reconsider staying, investing or retiring here. And people coming to look and live in the city will look at it and go, well, I can live with rates of half or a third just on the outskirts of the city. So I guess I'd humbly ask council to reconsider the UGRC to actually increase to align with competing cities. Then perhaps the $20 million a year that we spend currently on the marketing arm of Christchurch City, being the Christchurch NZ, maybe won't be needed because people can afford to live here and you don't try to have to attract them. And that's me.
Thank you, Greg.
Any questions?
Oh, we got one. Yeah, Sarah.
Thanks for that, Greg. I'm just wondering with your analysis, because Christchurch sits in the middle of the pack when it comes to rates, when you look at it on an average house value for that area.
And I guess
was
that's
your analysis done with the average house value rather than your dollar value? I'm just wondering.
So my
process-wise.
point is exactly that. With the uniform general rates charge dropping, the burden of the rates is falling on a very small number. And like, I literally
Checking on your process for when you assessed against the other councils.
so I looked at exactly the
dollar
same value
value.
property, exactly
but
the same
not
value property.
Okay, so it may be under average for some areas and over average for others. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, hang on. While we're on the roll, Jake wants those out.
Just in your submission, you mentioned I'm in favour of the redistribution of wealth. Do you mind if I quote you on that in future bits and pieces?
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right.
Yep.
Thank you very much for popping in.
Thanks, guys.
Rightio. So, Donald.